Hello everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. What's the time there? I'm so glad to hear from you. How are you doing? This Clubhouse is going to be recorded except for the questions part. We care about your privacy. As you can guess today, I'm giving you some priceless, useful tax tips, and also you can ask me anything tax related. But to give some context to all of this and to start off in a conversation, I thought I needed to introduce myself. I'm Paolo Rigo. I'm a creative numbers man with a very big mission, helping people how to make a living in Italy balancing money and happiness. I'm the CEO and founder of Studio Rigo. I'm a tax expert certified by the Chamber of Commerce and assistant for the judge at the civil court, working with chambers of commerce, embassies, and consulates from all over the world. I'm also a proud member of the European Institute for Advanced Study in Management. If you'd like to have a discussion with me and my team, get your questions ready and just please, as I've said this many times before, just get right to the question. Just formulate your questions. It starts usually with how, why, when, what, how to do that. That's usually how questions start. People find it hard to share confidential information. I totally understand that, such as personal income or financial assets, while there are others listening too. So we want you to feel 100% comfortable to share any kind of questions here. You can simply use some gross numbers or scenarios. And after this live session, if you need a deeper dive, you can definitely schedule a private free call with me and my team. You know, it's always hard to share any general advice or tax tip for everyone simply because every case is different. In my experience, I see that expats in Italy usually tend to make the same mistakes, so hopefully the following list will save you some money, some time, or at least it will be able to give you some peace of mind. Let's jump on that. Tip number 1, keep track. In Italy, audits by the review agency and automatic controls are based on documents and hard copies of the expenses. So regardless your job or your accommodation, it's always better to keep track of everything for at least 5 years in case you must prove some deductions applied in your tax return. Tip number 2, don't assume anything. Expats moving to Italy very often think that sometimes things work here because they do in their home country. Something works tax-wise simply because it does in their country of origin, but every regulation is different. How can you be sure? It means that it may happen the tax rules here are more favorable, working on your side. Plus, there is plenty of incentives that can reduce up to 90% of your tax basis. So, some income could be taxable, some income could be tax-free, some assets could be taxable, some assets could be tax-free. There is no universal guide. Tip number 3, pay in time. I know it sounds very easy to follow, very obvious. Payment deadlines are usually June and November of the following fiscal year. The only exemption that I can think about is the property taxes due on the second home, called IMU, that is due for the current year by June 15 and December 15. But back to the personal income tax, it means that if you move to Italy in the first semester, you can wait up to 12 months until the first tax obligation, until the first payment. And payments due in June can be split also in few rounds in order to make it easy to deal with. It doesn't make sense to pay fines and interest for the delay just because you did not save your money in the right way. So learn how to have a rough idea of the tax burden in advance. Just get in touch base with your tax consultant, with the CAP, with the CPA, with the commercialista, and work on an estimate so you will have no surprises at all. Tip number 4. Yes, you can have a foreign bank account being paid there by your employer or client. And if it's your case, your income will be considered produced in Italy anyway if you have your residence in Italy. So in other words, tax-wise, it's not mandatory, it's not required to set up an Italian bank account. Tip number 5. Suppliers in Italy often ask for cash payments. It's a very Italian habit that can cost you a lot of money, and here's why. In case you incur in some deductible expenses such as rental, such as medical ones or dentist, educational cost, house renovation cost. You cannot use them against your total income if you don't have the payment track. In other words, pay cash as less as you can. Very often, the supplier, the restaurant owner, they offer you a discount of 5 or 10% on the total if you pay cash, or in other words, if you pay under the table. So where's the benefit? For you, not for him. This is the main question. Tip number 6. Moving money from a foreign bank account to an Italian one, it's definitely not an easy thing. The big brother is watching you, and in certain cases, the revenue agency has the right to apply withholding tax of 20% on the total transfer. It feels like finding a way to avoid it is the best way to sleep at night. So talk about it with your tax consultant and your Italian bank before moving any amount of money from another country to Italy. Tip number 7. A lot of services are free of charge. I know it sounds weird because we used to charge for what we do as professionals, but here's the thing. If you can speak a little bit of Italian and you know how to deal with Italian bureaucracy, you can get a lot of free help by email from the local town hall regarding property tax due on the second home, the IMU. This is just an example. Also, you can do a lot of things yourself going in person to any revenue agency office, any Agenzia delle Entrate local office. Plus, if you have the speed code, you can do a lot of things yourself without moving from your home, just doing everything sitting on your chair. All you need to do is just to go on the website, use the speed, you will have free access to everything you need. Tip number 8. Almost every tax benefit for expats is time limited. It means that there is a starting point and a handing line to manage. 1 year lost cannot be recovered, as a wrong election in a tax return can compromise the following years. Regardless your job, try to think like a business owner and work on a tax plan, 5 up to 10 years long, so you can have a rough idea of taxes potentially saved and financial resources to count on while you live here in Italy. Tip number 9. Mistakes cost a lot. Here in Italy, the revenue agency sends millions of audits every year, asking for some clarifications or, worst case, asking for past taxes due plus penalties. Those can be pretty expensive, up to 250% of your tax liability and 15% of your assets held abroad. The sooner you recover a mistake yourself, the less you will pay in fines. If you feel like you put a signature on a piece of paper that you don't understand the content of, maybe it's the right time to get in touch with a professional. You can find several levels of professionals in the tax field depending on your fiscal profile or problem to solve. So if you're moving to Italy and you're willing to enjoy the life here and sleep at night, someone helping you to understand and follow the rules can help you focus on what's really important, avoiding penalties in the future. Tip number 10, probably the last but not least, use your time. When you start a journey in general, a map can show you the way. Some people move here to retire from work, some to start a business, some because they fell in love with Italian culture, with Italian food, or with an Italian man or Italian woman. So no matter what brings you here, our mission is to help you finding a balance between your goal and the price needed to achieve that. It's a huge change. We totally understand that. And taxes can have a huge impact either for your portfolio or simply for your peace of mind. The sooner you begin to get information and have a precise plan, the more you will enjoy your future here. Fiscal obligations and consequences can stop your dream or boost it. How do you know without taking a deep dive? Okay, thank you for your questions. Thank you everyone for joining us today on Clubhouse. Sadly, our time is over, so in case you have more questions or you get some in the following days, remember you can get a lot of free content on our YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this session, if you found this information to be valuable to you, please don't forget to share your experience, tell your friends, spread the word on social media. We are here to help you. Thank you again for showing up today and all of you that are supporting us.